The A-29B Super Tucano is a Brazilian light attack aircraft designed to operate in tropical conditions and to have exceptional range, to be able to do surveillance on the Amazon basin that covers 60% of Brazil's surface. It is derived from the Tucano turboprop trainer, but it is longer by 1.3 meters and has a turboprop with almost twice the power, 1600 horsepower. The airframe structure is strengthened to allow load factors of up to 7 positive G and minus 3.5 G. Its avionics system was developed by Elbit, from Israel, and consists of 2 mission and display processors, a head-up display, HUD, and 2 multifunction displays. Although cooled by fans and outflow from the pressurized cockpit, the avionics are designed to operate without cooling for several hours in tropical conditions. Either mission data processor can operate the entire avionics system, the other acting as a backup. 2 batteries are installed and allow operations without an external power cart. The aircraft can carry a wide variety of armament, that we will examine in upcoming training missions. For now, this training mission will teach you how to cold start the aircraft, taxi and take off. If the cockpit interior is too dark, activate the flashlight with left Alt plus L. If the yellow cross cursor is not visible, press left Alt plus left Shift plus C to make it appear. Also, you can press spacebar to cut short long texts, in case you are repeating the mission. Parking brake, check. Left-click twice on the handle to release the brake. OK, now right-click on it twice to engage the parking brake. Good. Note that a brake-on light will lit on the instruments panel, confirming that the parking brake is applied. Battery switch, set to on, with a right-click, to connect both batteries to the battery electric bus. The master caution and warning lights will begin flashing, you can press on them to acknowledge. Wait a few seconds for the basic avionics to warm up. Once they do, the right MFD will go on and display the ICAS, engine indication and crew alert system page. Generator switch. Confirm that it is in the on position. Backup generator switch. Confirm that it is in the auto position. External power switch. Confirm it is set to off, since we are not using ground power to start the aircraft. Emergency override and aircraft interconnect switches. Check that their covers are closed. Interior lights panel. Instruments panel backlight knob, set as desired. Consoles backlight knob, set as desired. Floodlights knob, adjust as desired. Storm, white floodlight switch, set as needed. Alarm lights test switch. Left-click and hold to test the fire alarm light. Then right-click and hold to test the remaining instruments panel alarm lights. Confirm both the warn and fire red lights blink. Confirm that the landing gear handle, warn, caution, and brake on lights illuminate. Avionics panel. MDP, mission and display processor, 1 and 2. Check that they are on. Avionics master switch, set to on, with a right click. The left MFD, the UFCP, and the HUD will go on after a couple of seconds. SMS, stores management system switch, check that it is on. HUD and UFCP, check and confirm that both are active. This large knob, adjust the brightness of the HUD. And this smaller knob adjusts the brightness of the UFCP. On the UFCP, set the EGI knob to align, to begin the alignment of the GPS and INS systems. On the UFCP display, the message INS align should appear. A partial alignment is attained in 1.5 minutes, after which the aircraft can be moved and the alignment will continue at a slower pace. The full alignment process takes 4 minutes, after which the UFCP display will change to INS align with a flashing ready sign, and the HUD will show a flashing align on its lower left. In the meantime, you can continue the cold start. We will check on the alignment completion later. ECS, Environment Control System Panel. Air conditioner and recirculation fan switches, confirm both are off. Temperature adjustment knob, turn it fully counterclockwise, to its cold position, to minimize electric consumption during engine start. Air conditioning mode, check it is set to its manual position. Ice protection panel. Confirm that all its switches are off. On the left console, at the far back, emergency speed brake switch, check it is at its normal position. The Super Tucano is fitted with an automatic rudder trim system, to compensate the propeller torque that yaws the aircraft to the left. The system becomes active at speeds over 50 knots, helping pilots to better control the aircraft during takeoff. Auto rudder, check it's at the power position. Engine panel. The Super Tucano's engine is a PT6A, with its throttle connected to a power management unit, PMU, similar to a full authority digital engine control, which prevents the turboprop from exceeding temperature or torque limits. PMU switch, confirm it is set to auto. Ignition switch, check that it is set to its auto position. External lights panel. Beacon switch, set to on, to signal the ground crew that we will soon start the engine. Taxi switch, confirm that it is set to its auto position. Landing light switch, check that it is set to off. Confirm that the landing gear lever is in its down position. Inertial separator switch, check it's in its closed position. The nacelle inlet of the Super Tucano includes an inertial separator to prevent heavy dust particles from entering the engine inlet. It reduces the power output of the engine, so it is not usually used on takeoffs. Late arm switch, confirm that its cover is closed. MASS knob. This is the master armament safety switch, with positions for simulate, safe, and live. Check that it's at safe. Fuel panel. Main pumps knob, set to auto. Multifunction display, and these rocker switches allow you to adjust their brightness. On the ICAS page, at the right MFD, check that all 3 trim indicators are in neutral. Confirm that the flaps are down. You can operate them using the F key toggle. With no external stores on the aircraft, you could leave the flaps on the up position, as they would not be needed for takeoff. Check battery voltage, it should be 24 volts or higher. Next, close the canopy by clicking on its handle, or by pressing left Ctrl+C. Throttle to start, by right-clicking on it. This will advance the throttle from fuel cutoff, to its start position. The Super Tucano is equipped with 2 radios, COM1 is a UHF unit, while COM2 is VHF-UHF. For this mission, we will manually tune the COM2 radio to 121.0 MHz, which is the VHF frequency of the air traffic controller at Anapa Air Base. The radio setup is all done through the up-front control panel, as there are no dedicated radio panels on the side consoles. First, on the UFCP press the COM2 Quick Select button, the UFCP will then display the COM2 radio setup page. The radio information is shown on the UFCP display in the form of data fields. The currently selected field is enclosed within asterisks. You can select other fields by moving the data control switch, DCS, up or down. Select the man field. For manual tuning mode, its current frequency should be enclosed by asterisks. Press spacebar once you have it selected. The man field contains the current manual frequency for this radio. You can change its value by simply entering a new value using the keypad. Try it, enter 121000, or alternatively you can enter 121 and then press the enter button. Press spacebar once the field contains 121.000. At this point, the radio is still on preset tuning mode, as denoted by the squares that enclose the label PRST. You have to press 0M cell, while the cursor is still on the frequency field, to change the radio to manual tuning mode. Do it now. The UFCP display will automatically return to its home page, where you can see that COM2 is indeed tuned to 121.000 MHz. We are now ready to contact ATC. In order to initiate a radio communication, you have to make use of the COM switch that the real aircraft has on its throttle. It has 3 positions: forward to transmit using COM1, aft to transmit using COM2, and up to use the HF radio, which is not yet simulated. Make sure to bind the COM switch onto your HOTAs, or onto keyboard key combinations. Then press the binding corresponding to COM aft, to use the COM2 radio. Do it now. The DCS communications menu should have appeared. Now select F5, ATC, F1, ANAPA, F3, Request Startup. Press spacebar once you hear the tower's answer. Press F12 to clear the communications menu.
Request startup. Enfield 1-1. ANAPA, cleared for startup.
Engine start switch, push forward, with a right click, and hold for 2 seconds. The NG% parameter, on the ICAS page, shows the current RPM of the engine. The value will turn green at about 65%, once the engine reaches idle. Once NG reaches 10 to 15%, advance the throttle, from start to idle, by right-clicking on it again. Monitor the T5 turbine temperature. It should not exceed the limit of 1000 degrees Celsius. After about 40 seconds, the engine should have reached an idle RPM of 65% NG and T5 should be stabilized at 340 degrees Celsius. At this point, the engine's generators are providing electrical power. If external power was used during the start, then set the external power switch to off, not the case this time. After engine start. Radar altimeter switch, set to transmit, to enable the radar altimeter. Environment control system panel. ECS temperature knob, set as desired. Air conditioner switch, set to on, to enable cooling for the avionics bay. Recirculation fan switch, set to on. Temperature mode switch, set to its auto position. On the ice protection panel, turn on the anti-ice heaters for the pitot and total air temperature probes. Pre-TAT switch, set to on, the pitot TAT warning on the right MFD, turns off. Secondary pitot switch. Set to on, the S-pitot warning on the right MFD, turns off. Now we will check the status of the EGI alignment process. The UFCP is currently displaying its main page. Flick the data control switch, DCS, to its right, to the menu position. The UFCP display is now showing its functions menu. Press its keypad 6 to select EGI. The UFCP display is now showing INS align and ready is blinking, while the HUD is also showing a blinking align on its lower left. The full EGI alignment has finished. you should now turn the EGI knob to its nav position. UFCP, set to its main page, called the CNI page, Communications, Navigation and Information, by flicking its data control switch, DCS, left, towards its main position. You have completed the cold start procedure, the aircraft is now ready to taxi. Auto rudder, right-click it, switch to its momentary ENGA position, to engage the automatic rudder trim system, which compensates the propeller torque during takeoff. Emergency speed brake switch, check it is at normal. Taxi light switch, set to on, the nose gear taxi lights will illuminate. We will now taxi to the runway. Contact ATC for taxi clearance. Use the COM aft binding, to use the COM 2 radio to open the communications menu. Select F1, request taxi to runway. Please note that ATC might take a while to answer if there is other traffic on the taxiways. Just wait and eventually you will be given clearance. Press spacebar once you hear the tower's answer.
Enfield 1-1, Anapa, clear to taxi to runway 22.
Take note of the runway assigned. For this mission the active runway should be runway 22. The diagram shows the taxi route you must follow. You will steer the aircraft using your rudder pedals. If your HOTAS setup does not include a rudder axis, you can also steer left or right using the Z and X keys. A DCS bug makes the rudder pedals overly sensitive at very low taxi speeds, so avoid making rudder inputs until the aircraft is over 3 knots of speed. For this mission, we will taxi towards runway 22 via Street E, which is in front of you. On the briefing, which you can view with left Alt+B, is a diagram of this airbase. Release the parking brake, advance throttle to around 85%, and let the aircraft slowly move forward. Once the aircraft is moving, press the wheel brakes, with your HOTAS or the W key, to confirm their operation. Release the wheel brakes and resume the taxi. Be careful of other traffic that may be near you. Good, now turn right and proceed along the taxiway E, towards the runway 22. This is taxiway E, proceed forward, towards the runway 22. Stop the aircraft just short of runway 22. We will now contact ATC for takeoff permission. Press the COM aft binding, to use the COM 2 radio to open the communications menu. Select F1, request takeoff. Once the tower grants permission, take note of the current QFE, to calibrate our barometric altimeter, it should be 29.77 inches of mercury. Then, enter the runway, align with its centerline, and stop there.
Enfield 1-1, unable to clear for takeoff. Enfield 1-1, Anapa, you are cleared for takeoff when ready. Climb 300 at QFE 29.7.
Takeoff final checks, verify that there are no warnings on the right MFD. Check that the flaps are down, as we are carrying underwing stores on this mission. Takeoff trim, set a pitch trim of 0.2 nose up, to have a smoother takeoff. Calibrate barometric altimeter. ATC informed us earlier that the current QFE for atmospheric pressure is 29.77 inches of mercury. Convert to hectopascals by multiplying by 33.863, giving an equivalent QFE of 1008 hectopascals. Input that value using the highlighted knob. Taxi light switch, set to off. Landing light switch, set to on. This completes the takeoff checklist. We are now ready for takeoff. Follow the usual procedure. Hold wheel brakes, increase throttle to 90% RPM, check instruments and alerts. If everything is well, release the brakes and accelerate to maximum RPM. Use nose wheel steering to maintain directional control and keep the aircraft on the runway's centerline. At 105 knots, pull back on the control stick to raise the nose to a takeoff attitude and allow the aircraft to fly itself off the ground. Lift off. We are now on the air. Use trim to maintain a steady climb. Once on the air, retract the landing gear with the G key or by clicking the gear handle. Retract the flaps before reaching 150 knots, using the highlighted lever, the HOTAS, or the F key. You may now climb and accelerate to cruise speed. Your heading should be 215 degrees, climb speed 180 knots. Adjust pitch trim to attain a 5 degrees angle on the HUD. Do this by placing the highlighted flight path marker over the 5 degrees horizontal pitch line. You have reached 3,000 feet, congratulations, you have successfully finished this training mission. Please press spacebar to exit the mission.